bit of an additional look, so to speak. Now, the next thing that we want to do is something that I get asked about a ton, and that is showing the chat on the screen, because we have to put it in this little area over here so that viewers can see the live chat for this particular scene when we show this. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to bring my live streaming page over, and I'm going to show you how to do this. When you go to your live streaming page on YouTube, you click here, and then you click on Pop Out Chat. When you do that, they're going to give you a URL up here at the top. You want to copy that, and then you can close it. And then after you close that, you can actually just move that right out of the way or close the window or whatever, and it's okay because you have that URL. That's all that you need. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go down to plus in my scenes, or in my sources, actually. I'm going to go down to plus. I'm going to choose browser source. Here I'm going to make this chat as the identifier. And then you can see here there's already a URL here going to OBS project, but I'm going to override that with my YouTube chat, okay? That URL that I just got. Now, because I've already built this for, the thing that I'm doing with TubeBuddy, so I've already built this, I already know that the width of this is going to be way too big. So I'm going to take the width of this down to 520, and I'm going to take the height to, let's say, let's do 890, okay? From there, I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see the chat is now popping up on the screen. I just grab that, and I bring it over here and get it into place, okay? I could leave it like this, and it would be perfectly okay. I mean, if it just looks like this and you have the white on there, it's fine. But if you look at this from a design standpoint, I have all of these dark elements. I'm wanting people to focus on the TubeBuddy logo down there, which, by the way, if you don't have TubeBuddy installed yet, I've got a link to that in the description. But I want to draw people's attention to the TubeBuddy logo, and I want them looking at my screen. I want them looking at the chat as well, but I don't want them to be overwhelmed and distracted by what's going on in the chat. So what I have to do for that is I have to put in a CSS code, which I have in a notepad here, and I'll actually put this as a resource link down in the description below. But I have some CSS code that I'm going to drop into this chat option right here. So I'm going to right-click on chat, I'm going to hit properties, and I'm going to delete this in the CSS area right here, and then I'm going to paste in all of this code right here. And again, I'm going to have a resource link to this down in the description, so you'll be able to get this same exact code down in that description if you want this. And then I'm going to hit OK, and then you'll see that it made my text bigger, and it also took away that background, so now it's not as distracting. It's still distracting, especially when it's all moving around, but it's not as distracting. So what we've done there is now we have this chat area so that people that are watching can see their chat come up on the screen, right? So I'm just going to click on something there, and then that fills that box out, and you can see right there, as you can see, can you see this that I put down there? It completely fills that box out and makes everything look nice and clear. Now, to be picky, I would want to scoot this down here just a tad, because that's a little bit too tight up there at the top for me. So I would bring it down to something like that, maybe bring up the bottom a little bit, but you can fine tune yours when you're making your graphics for your live stream. So now we have three chats. Now we have three scenes, in here. We have the main plane, we have the main ticker, and then we also have this, which is our cam with chat. So we're starting to create, a nice production here, right? Like, this is looking really professional. It's looking great. Everything is nice and organized, real easy to follow what's going on. And a really awesome thing about this is down here in the sources part, you don't have just a humongous pile of stuff down there, right? You can just switch it as you need it instead of having a bunch of things that you have to sort through in order to make these same things happen. And you don't have to drag things around all the time and resize the frame and all of that. So this makes it so much easier. So the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the main plane again. And this one is going to be split screen. Now, this comes in really cool if you are a gamer or if you are a business owner and you want to have your screen, and then you also want to have something happening on the side over here to where you can have like your social media information, or you can have like a product that you're talking about, or you can have bullet points of what it is that you're talking about while keeping yourself on the screen. This part is really cool. So what I'm going to do here is I created that split screen scene. And as you can see in the sources here, the only thing, again, that we're starting with is just the webcam by itself. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go and I'm going to grab the image that I made. And then with this, you can see I'm kind of, covered up there or whatever, but the graphic over here is where you would put there we go, is where you would put the, any additional information that you have. But what you would do in this case with the webcam is I'm going to lock that. And then with the webcam, I can just take this, drag it over, just like this. And then there we go, I'm nice and centered. So let's say that I'm talking here in the main plane, and then I want to say something about, whatever it is that I'm talking about, then I would click on this, and you can set this up. You can set up a bunch of these, so you can just rotate through them as you're talking about things, or when you want to, you can go to the cam chat and things like that. So now that we have this in place, I want to level this whole thing up to really make it pro. I'm sure you've seen the news where, they're talking about something and then they transition into something else, and then they have like a logo or some type of graphic that comes up on the screen to actually make that transition to happen and make it kind of smooth and pro looking. Well, that's what we're going to do. So what we're going to do for that is I'm going to click on studio mode over here, and that's going to split the screen. So if you're not familiar with OBS right now, if you're not familiar with OBS yet, basically how this works is over on this side of the screen, the one that has the ticker on it right now, this side of the screen is basically a staging area, and then the other side of the screen where we have the split screen, that is actually what would be live that your viewers would be seeing right now. So if you're recording something in OBS, or if you're actually streaming in OBS, the one over on the right where the split screen is right now, that is your actual live area. That's what's actually being streamed or recorded. And over on your left, that is your staging area where you actually build everything and you get it ready to go over. So what we're going to do here is we're going to add that transition so that we can really make this look cool. So here I'm going to go over to the scene transitions. I'm going to hit plus, and then I'm going to select Stinger. Now here I'm going to do icon transition. I'm going to hit OK. Then it's going to give me the option to go find it, and I'm going to go find it. It's called the TB icon transition. TB stands for tube buddy. And then for these other options, I'm going to leave these on the default, but if you are wanting to hear the transition, if you have audio in yours like I do with mine, and you're wanting to actually hear that transition, what you would do is you would just click on this, and then you would go down to monitor only with mute output, okay? And then as you're playing it, if you're doing your stream, you have headphones in, and you want to be a part of the show in terms of listening to what's going on, then that gives you the ability to do it. So I'm going to hit OK. Now, this is where this gets cool. I'm going to go up here to the quick transition. I'm going to hit the plus sign, and I'm going to hit icon transition, and then now that icon transition's in there. So how this works, let's say that I want to transition from this split screen over here to the ticker version that's over here, then I can click on this icon transition, and then it does that for me while still keeping everything looking cool for the viewers. So basically, instead of making it a hard cut like this every time that I do the transition or a fade, then I can hit that icon transition and actually take it to a different segment. So that's really cool, where you can say, okay, well, I want to use this to transition me in between segments. You can set up different graphics that you change, for each thing in between each different segment that you're trying to produce. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to take this up another notch, and we're going to add another option here to slide. And I'm just going to call this one down. You can do up, down, left, or right. And then here I'm just going to make this down. And you can also add these up here as well to the quick transitions. Any quick transitions that you want, you can add them up here. But this is especially handy for graphics. But now if I want to transition in between something, I can just hit down like that, and then it will take me, into anything it is that I'm wanting it to take me into. But if you really want to do this in like a really cool way, what you can do is, I'm going to go into my settings here. I'm going to show you something. Under the General tab, if I scroll down, you're going to see this option right here for studio mode, transition to scene when double clicked, okay? I have that selected, and I'm going to show you why. The reason that's selected is because, let's say that I do a down transition, okay? If I double click these now, it's going to automatically just send it over, and it's going to send it over with that down transition. Same thing would happen if you wanted to do a fade, right? You see how it just fades it all around? And the same thing happens if I want to do the icon transition. So let's say that I'm sitting here and I'm talking about something for a while, and then I want to take it back to the plane. Then I can click on that, and then it'll take me back to the plane, and then I'm ready to go in terms of making everything look awesome. So the same thing applies if I want to go to the split screen. Then I click on that, and then it makes that really cool transition to really pro everything up quite a bit. Now, in addition to that, if you really want to make this stuff even cooler and make it easier for yourself, there's something called the Elgato Stream Deck. I'll put a link to it down in the description, and it's basically a live switcher. It's really low cost, and we actually use it in our studio that I do my Nimin live show on every Saturday, and I actually have one right here at home as well. And basically how that works is you can program the buttons and you can assign anything it is that you want to happen. You can assign it to these buttons, and you can just press the buttons without having to actually click anything inside of OBS itself. If you want to learn more about growing your channel, making videos, and all types of other YouTube related stuff, start now by hitting the round subscribe icon so you don't miss anything. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time.
Hello everybody, Chris here, and in this video I want to show you guys a complete tutorial for Open Broadcaster software, trying to begin you from the start of installing the program all the way to where you can record or stream videos for either YouTube or Twitch TV. So if you don't already know, Open Broadcaster software is a tool for being able to record different video sources straight from your computer, which can include things like your computer screen monitor, the window of a game or web browser. It can include overlays, and if you use programs like Twitch Alerts, you can also set up alerts to pop up on screen while you're playing or streaming a game. Now, although most people probably are going to use Open Broadcaster software for recording videos, it's also really good for doing screencasts, and there's nothing stopping you from using it for doing vlogs either, since it is compatible with webcams or external cameras as long as you can get it hooked up to your PC. So to get started, one of the most basic things you're going to need to set up is a scene. So in the bottom left-hand corner of the program, we see our list of scenes. You can see I have a few set up, and I can actually go between them. You'll notice that these other scenes are recording what's on my screen, and yes, if OBS gets caught